When opening the file for version 2 of Growing Vine for Blender 5 and 5.1, we find a curve that already has the nodes included. These nodes already include a trunk texture and leaves ready to be rendered, but they can be changed. The file contains the leaves within a collection that our nodes use. And it is this collection that can be replaced with other objects. To start using the nodes in our project, the easiest way is to copy the curve and paste it into our project. As I mentioned, this new version works in Blender 5 and 5.1, which are the most recent. If you want to use it in earlier versions, the other versions are available along with tutorials for those versions. Continuing with this tutorial for version 2 of Growing Vine, we paste the curve into our project. As you can see, the leaf collection is also imported. You can hide the leaves and they will still appear along the curve. Let's put the curve in edit mode. We select all vertices and delete them. Then, using the draw tool, we draw the curve we want. To make the geometry of the vine stem more rounded, we need to increase the number of subdivisions. Let's leave it at 100 for now. Radio base trunk controls the thickness of the radius at the base of the stem. Radio tip trunk makes the tip of the vine thicker or thinner. Number of leaves modifies the number of leaves. The number of leaves will also be affected by the number of subdivisions. Leaves size, overall size of the leaves. Leaves size punta affects the size of leaves closer to the tips. Seed changes the seed to get variations. Anim trunk size. With this we will animate the growth of the vine. Anim leaf size. And with this parameter we will animate the growth of the leaves. Collection. Here we can change the leaves for custom ones or include other objects. In collection we can put the group of custom leaves we want to use. They can also be other types of objects. In this case I will use a cube, Suzanne's head, and a cone. I will save them in a new collection named Forms. But you could name it as you prefer. And add it here. Since we didn't apply the scale to the objects, they appear very large. We can apply the scale to each object individually or adjust their size directly from the node panel. The objects appear in the center of the trunk because the origin of each one is at the geometric center. We need to place the origin of each object in the collection at the bottom. In the case of the leaves, you have to put the origin at the tip of the stem of each leaf. Material. Custom materials can also be assigned to the trunk. If you assign a new material to the vine trunk, it's necessary that in that material you place an attribute node linked to the vector of the mapping node so that the texture applies correctly. Leaf rot. These tools allow us to rotate the leaves to adjust them better as needed. Keep in mind that, being generated procedurally, we don't have individual control over each leaf. Noise factor makes the vine trunk twist. Noise size controls the size of the twist. Collision. This is where the collection containing the object or objects is added so that the vine leaves adapt to the surface. Factor determines how much influence the objects in the collision collection will have on how the leaves arrange themselves. Iterations. By default, it's set to 150. This control is useful when there are two collision surfaces close together, which can cause inconsistencies in leaf orientation. A value closer to 0 makes leaf rotation more sensitive, while a higher number stabilizes it more. Output attributes. This is where the UV is defined. If you assign a new material to the vine trunk, it's necessary that in that material you place an attribute node linked to the vector of the mapping node so that the texture applies correctly. I'm going to change the attribute name so you can see it. When you do, the vine trunk will temporarily lose the material. If you use a normal map, you must also specify the name there. Then we copy and paste this name here, and we see how it recovers the texture. Example of animation. Now, I'll show you 2 tips. Using 2 or more objects as surfaces. If you want the same vine to grow across 2 different objects, simply add those 2 or more objects to the collection assigned in collision. Animating the texture. Since the vine only appears to grow forward, it actually expands along a predefined curve. The texture won't move automatically. However, you can animate it manually. In the mapping node, you can keyframe the X value under location. To make it work correctly, you'll need to animate it using negative values.